Hi friends, this is the how-to video for using our printables. We have redone our printables so that they will work in 4 different formats. And each format has different instructions, but I'm including an instruction guide that explains each of the 4 formats, what you need for them, and then I'm also including a link to this video that will be posted on my YouTube channel in order for you to have a visual representation of the instructions, because if you're anything like me, you are a visual learner, and I do my best research on YouTube watching how other people use programs and software. So I figured I should do that for my customers by creating this video. So a bulk of this video will be screenshot of my Mac, and then the second part that I will be filming and putting into this in clips is going to be me showing some physical creation of stickers through the use of a Cricut and the use of a Silhouette Cameo 4. I also have an iPad Pro 9.7 inch and an iPad Pencil that I will be using. The main thing to note is that although I'm using a Cameo 4, you can use portraits and other versions of Silhouette machines and Cricut machines and iPads in order to use my files. The menus might look a little bit different. Also, I'm using a Mac to show you the screenshots, so it might look a little bit different on a Windows, but the overall instructions and how-to guide should be pretty self-explanatory and easy to follow. So I'm hoping that we can do this as close to one take as I can. I might have to chop some stuff out, but my son is with my husband right now and they're in another room. So if you hear them or the dog, I apologize. So to begin with, on the first page of the how-to guide, it explains that our files are all for personal use only, no commercial use, no sharing files, reselling, or distributing in any format. And then it talks about what supplies you will need for each chosen method. So for Silhouette, you're going to need a computer with printer and Silhouette software installed, a color, laser, or inkjet printer with said toner or ink, sticker paper, a Silhouette Cameo or portrait cutting machine with a mat and blade. If you are doing a Cricut, you will need a computer with a printer and Cricut Design Space installed, a color, laser, or inkjet printer with toner or ink, sticker paper, and either a Cricut Explorer, Cricut Maker, or Cricut Venture with cutting mat and blade. Please note that Cricut Joy will not work because it cannot cut big enough for our files. For hand cutting, you will need a computer with printer and free Adobe Acrobat Reader installed, which is what you're going to use to print the PDF. You will also need a color, laser, or inkjet printer with toner and ink, sticker paper, scissors, X-Acto knife, and or a slice tool in order to hand cut your stickers. And some extras that I recommend are a sturdy ruler for cutting straight edge stickers and a self-healing cutting mat to protect a desk. Another extra that might be useful is a reusable sticker book where after you're done cutting your stickers, you could peel the backing off and stick them in there until you're ready to plan. But those things are just extras, not essential. Lastly is digital planning, and I recommend an iPad Pro and an iPad Pencil. I know you can get other pencil or crayon writing instruments, and this might work on other like tablets such as Android tablets, but I do not own Android tablets, so I cannot guarantee. So if you know that you can use GoodNotes and you use a digital planner and you have a writing device that you know works on your tablet specifically, then this process should work for you, but I can't make guarantees on things that I haven't tried. I am not a Cricut user, I'm not a hand cutter, and I am not a digital planner, so those methods I had to do a lot of research and also get some help from my friends. So for the Cricut, I borrowed a Cricut from one of my friends that lives locally, and then the hand cutting and digital planning, I obviously used my materials that I have, but everyone has slightly different materials. So just know that going in. The first process we're going to talk about is Silhouette Print and Cut. And I know before we start, some of you are going to have questions about what sticker paper I recommend, what printers I recommend. That is actually included on the second page of the how-to guide, and I give some recommendations on that page and also about how to get your print settings right, those type of things. So that's on page 2 of the guide. The guide will be included on every single digital purchase you make, and it'll be the same one on every digital purchase. So no matter what kind of file you're using, whether you chose a weekly kit, a cousin, a monthly kit, a foil kit, doesn't matter what you have downloaded, the instructions will be the same. The files will vary, obviously, but the instruction guide in this video should work with the same type of process. So again, we're going to start with Silhouette Studio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at the how-to guide and kind of walk you through step by step. So it says to begin this tutorial, and you must have downloaded Silhouette Studio software onto your computer and have set up and connected your Silhouette cutting machine with a blade and cutting mat. You also need to have your printer software installed and set to your liking with your chosen sticker paper in the tray. I have all those things done. I run a sticker shop. I have my setup. Number 1 is if you haven't calibrated your machine recently, it's always a good idea to do so before doing a printing cut project to avoid having offcut stickers, aka oops sheets. I highly recommend this if you've never done it with your Silhouette, to just get things right on track before doing a bunch of printing and cutting. I linked an awesome YouTube video that a fellow planner sticker shop created, OK Plans, and she shows how to calibrate a Silhouette portrait machine. It's a very similar process for a Cameo, so I highly recommend watching her video if you don't know how to calibrate your machine. Number 2, you're going to download the print and cut files onto your computer and unzip them in the folder if needed. So I'm going to start showing you as if I had just downloaded them and I saved them to my external hard drive. So you could save them wherever you normally save your files, but I save mine to an external hard drive. So I'm going to click and show you the files. So we're going to be using our Season of Gratitude kit as our example. And I am showing you guys as if I had purchased the Season of Gratitude vertical kit. This is basically an ultimate format, standard vertical weekly kit. So boxes that fit Erin Condren boxes, the 1.5 by 1.9. They'll work for a various amount of planners, but obviously that's kind of the standard. So when you buy this kit, you're going to get these things in your download. You're going to get a Cricut or digital planner folder. You're going to get a hand cut folder, a Silhouette folder, and then the printable instruction guide. So I'm going to open this to show you guys. It's going to take a second here. And I'll just show you what I'm following. So I have this already printed in front of me, and that's what I'm following as I'm doing this screen recording. And this is what will be available for you to download and follow. So here are the tools you'll need, which I just went over. Here's the section about sticker paper and printers, and then we go into the Silhouette Print Cut. These are the links. The pink underlines are links. And then we have the Cricut Part 1 and Part 2, hand cutting instructions, digital planning instructions Part 1 and Part 2, and then the last page is going to have the link to this video with the timestamps to these different items. Obviously, I'm filming it right now, so I don't have that in here, but it will be updated and on the version of this that you get in your purchases. So I have that in front of me. I am following that to make sure that I am hitting all the points for you guys. So we're going to be starting with Silhouette. So I'm going to be selecting the Silhouette folder, and I'm going to be opening these files. I also have a Stanley with water, so if you hear me drinking, there's a lot of talking involved here. So I'm going to be taking some drinks. So we are currently on step 3 of the Silhouette instructions. We are opening the files in Silhouette Studio. And once they open, in the design panel, we're going to click on the page setup tool and make sure that we have the correct machine type and cutting mat size selected for my setup. So like I said, my setup is Silhouette Cameo 4s, but I will say over the years, I just recently upgraded to Silhouette Cameo 4s. I have mostly always used the original Silhouette portrait machines. So if you have a Silhouette portrait, whether it be the original or the most current version, you have a Cameo 3, you have a, I don't even know, any of the versions should work. The more important aspect of that is making sure you have Silhouette software that is working and current with your computer. I don't necessarily think you need to upgrade your software all the time, but keeping it up to date if you're having a lot of crashing issues or bugs is important, along with updating your firmware of your machine. If you're having issues with your machine, I highly recommend making sure that your firmware is up to date. And my old Mac takes a while to load, so I'm going to speed the rest of this up until they're open. Okay, you can see now that my files have opened. This window I'm going to just minimize for now. And it opens up a blank one every time, and then it opens up your files. So I am going to go ahead and just exit out of that blank one. We don't need that. And you will have 4 files in this particular format, in the vertical format. There are 4 8.5 by 11 pages that I have designed for this kit. And they include the full boxes page, these 2 pages with the headers, little things, deco, kind of sidebar page, boxes, pattern boxes, bottom washi, and date covers. And then the ultimate pages include the solids, the icons, some extra boxes, and a double box. Like I said, my format will probably change, but this video and the steps you follow should stay pretty much the same. So even if you're watching this video in a couple of years and my format looks slightly different, I'm hoping that this process is still able to be followed. So that's my hope. If your files look slightly different, don't worry, I probably just updated my format slightly. So these are the 4 files that we have to do today. My first step, like I said, is to, in the design panel, I'm going to go right here and I'm going to click this button, and I'm looking for page setup. Here we are. And I'm making sure that I have the right machine. So like I said, these are formatted for one thing. You might have a different. So all of my printable files built into Silhouette are going to be put in there for portraits, because I think most people who are printing their own stickers probably have portraits. If you have a Cameo, it's a simple fix. So you're just going to go here. I'm going to click Cameo 4. I'm going to select Auto Manual, and I'm going to select that my mat is actually a Cameo 12 by 12. So that's my settings. Everyone's settings are going to be slightly different, but what you're going to do is you're going to go through and do that same process and make any changes you personally need right now to every single file. So for me, I have it on Cameo 4, Auto, Cameo 12 by 12 mat, letter size paper. I'm going to go through and do that for these ones too. If you are currently using a portrait with a portrait mat and a letter size paper, it's already ready for you. I did that because I felt like most people use that, but maybe I'm wrong. If most of you aren't using those settings, it could be something I could update in the future, but that's what it's set at right now. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and change all of these. Okay, now that my settings are updated, you'll see that you can see the 12 by 12 mat. This is how I'm going to line it up on my mat, and it shows me that example. So I have my 4 files done. Now I am going to go ahead and go to print these items. So I'm going to select the printer. And on my printer, I have my settings saved, and I talked about doing this in the second page of the how-to guide. And so if you're wondering about that, basically what I do is I do a bunch of testing on my particular paper, and then I find my settings and I save them as a default. So my printer is called Stickers, my preset is called Vinyl Stickers, and I already have all of my color and my paper type and all that set up. And so all I have to do is hit print. So I'm going to go ahead and print all of these stickers, and then we will be able to move on to the next step. Okay, while these are printing, I'm going to go ahead and show you the cutting settings. So I'm going to go to send, and you will see that it's selected to cut by line, and that there are 2 colors for all these sheets. There is the red line, which I have set as sticker paper, white, and the blue line, which I have set as cardstock plain. Every single sticker paper is completely different, and so I set these as kind of a standard, but even for my sticker paper that I use, I have particular settings. So please find your settings, save them as custom settings, and then update these if you need to. These are definitely just a starting point, and I note that in the instructions. So for me, I have settings saved, and my Kiss Cut is called matte, and because I have slightly different ones when I'm doing my foil or my glossy, and then my blue line is called outside. So those are just my settings, but definitely go through and find your best setting. I'm not going to go through what they are exactly, all the settings, and they change. If my blades are old, I up the settings. I lower the settings when they're new. I do a lot of different stuff, and that's just from learning how my machines work and how this paper works. Over the years, having tried so many different types of paper, I have found settings that I like, but every time I try a new paper, I have a different setting. So please find the settings that work best for you, and just make sure that your Kiss Cut lines are red, and that your outside, like your actual sheet cut to cut out the rectangle, is the blue line. So I'm almost done. I'm updating these, and you'll notice, just like the matte, the settings I have are just a baseline. So I think that's normal with all printable kits. So now I have my cut lines ready for matte and for outside. That's my personal cut settings. And then I am going to find my silhouette machine that I will be using. Okay, you can see that my software found that I turned on one of my machines. This is my Cameo and it's called number 1. And so he is turned on, he's ready. I personally have the Bluetooth turned off. I have all of mine hard connected. I find that sometimes I have issues with the Bluetooth. I don't know if anybody else in the world doesn't love the Silhouette Bluetooth, but I'm not a fan. So I tend to just hard connect mine with a USB cord. So that is the machine that we're going to be cutting on. It's telling me to load the mat, so I'm going to go ahead and get a mat. And I'm going to actually pop in footage right now of me loading my first sticker sheet onto the mat, showing you how I load it onto my machine, and then pop back on to the controls and show you how I, start go. I'm not going to show you loading each sticker sheet. I'm just going to show you loading one, just so you know how I do it on my machine, and then we'll go back to the screen recording. Okay, so I have my mat, and I have my 4 sticker sheets printed out. So I'm going to add one of them to my mat, and I have a little tip if your mat is old and it's not super sticky, and that is to buy some painter's tape and tape your sheet on the top and the bottom. You can also do the sides if you feel like that's necessary, and that helps it just stay on there a little easier, and it's not going to come off. So that's what I do if my mats are getting old before I am able to grab a new one from Amazon or the store or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on there. So this is an example of what I meant. I lined it up on my mat, and I just put one piece on the top and one piece on the bottom because this mat is not new and super sticky like they normally are. So I have that, and I'm going to go ahead and push the arrow. I want to note 2 things. Number 1, my rollers are in place for a 12 by 12 mat. If you're using a portrait mat on a Cameo, you're gonna have to move in your rollers so that it's nice and tight and able to hold your mat. Portraits, a lot easier. They can only fit the smaller mat, so it's a little bit of a different story. So now that that is loaded up, I already have my auto blade in slot number 1, and I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys back onto the screen recording so I can show you what to do onto the computer. Okay, so on the computer, you have your machine selected, you have the correct document loaded onto your mat and into your machine, and you are going to go ahead and push send. So you can see the machine is now reading the registration marks. And now it's going to cut. Now it's going to switch to the second style of cutting, which is the outside cut. And then it's going to be all done. I will note, for those of you who might be confused, the black border is how we keep our formats applicable for Cricut and Silhouette and all those things. That's how I've formatted them to be able to line up. So on your Cricut and on your Silhouette, when you go to cut, it is going to cut on top of that black line. Do not be alarmed. It is supposed to do that. So just so you know, it's cutting on top of that black line. When we are making sticker sheets in our shop, we are cutting on the other side of the black line, but that is because I use auto feeders and trim my sheets by hand. That's just our workflow process, but the border is going to stay on it and you are going to have a cut that cuts on top. So the next step is going to be removing the excess. So I just grab my piece of tape. If you don't have tape, you'll just grab the corner and you're going to gently pull off the sticker sheet, and sometimes you'll see it'll hang on a little bit, so you might just have to kind of hold the corner and remove. Just depends on your cut settings. So this is a scrap, can go in the recycling or the garbage depending on your material type and your local rules and regulations. And then I'm going to grab my stickers, and you'll see it kind of hung on a little bit, but it's just bend it in half. It's just everyone's cut settings are slightly different. So that's my 2 sticker sheets. Like I said, it cut right on top of that black line. You can see like a little bit of that black line because it's a thick line peeking through, but it doesn't hurt your stickers at all. And when you're ready to plan, they're ready to go. I include a bleed on all my stickers, so they are ready for you to use. You don't have to worry about that, but make sure that your cutting machine is calibrated so that they do cut correctly. Okay, so once you do your first sheet, you would obviously unload, take your sheets off like I did, and then go back into Silhouette, click Design, click on your next file, click Send, push Send. Once you've loaded up your mat again, push Send, and then repeat that process over and over until you have printed and cut all of the files for your selected machine. That is how you do the Silhouette. This is how it works for my files. Everyone's files are different, everyone's cut settings and papers are different, but this is how it works for the process. Like I said, you need to find your own cut settings, your own print settings, and you will need to update if you're using a Cameo matte, because I have it set to the portrait matte. But this is the general flow of how I do my printables. This is going to be the end of the silhouette section, and I am going to go ahead and move on to the Cricut design space section. So for Cricut, I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to go back into my downloaded folder, and I'm going to show you pretty much the same process, but for Cricut. So we do have different kits. We have a vertical kit, we have a journaling kit, we have a cousin kit, we have a weeks kit. So there's lots of different files that you can choose from. And I think for the Cricut, let's work on the journaling. So I'm going to click on journaling, and then I'm going to click on Cricut, and I'm going to see my files. So I need to open up my Cricut design space. And so I'm going to search for it, find it, and open it. And it's going to load up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this screen a little bigger for you guys. And actually I have to fit it within my recording area. So let's go. Let's grab this and minimize. I'm just gonna fit it so that you guys can see everything. Otherwise, if I just make it big, you'll get cut off. Okay, so this is my Cricut space. I do not pay for the Cricut subscription. I only am borrowing a friend's Cricut for the purposes of this how-to guide and this video, and to verify that my settings work on a Cricut, and they do. So what I'm going to do, and I am a complete Cricut newbie, so if I sound like it, it's because I am. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I have learned for you guys. So I'm going to start by hitting canvas. And if you have not done a print and cut calibration recently, this is your step one. I can show you what those calibration sheets look like and where to get them, but I'm not going to do one in this video. I have one linked in the how-to PDF of how to calibrate your machine, and then also what to do if you calibrate it and it's still not cutting correctly, because I borrowed my friend's Cricut. He never does print cut. He only cuts like vinyl and fabric and things like that. I had to calibrate his machine, I kid you not, over 20 times. And I was so frustrated. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. I found a YouTube video that had a bunch of helpful hints. I still had to do it a ton of times, but eventually I did get it to print and cut calibrate. But please know that that is something you may have to do if your files are cutting off. So in order to find the calibration, you're going to click on these lines up here, and you're going to click on calibration, and then you're going to do a print and cut. You would print off the sheet and then follow the calibration guide. What I like to do is, say I have a calibration sheet, I have it saved as a PDF on my computer, I just print out like 10, keep them on hand. That's what I would do. That's what I was doing when I was testing, because I was having to calibrate it a ton. So go through that process if you haven't done it recently. But I'm going to skip that step here. There is a video explaining exactly what to do, and Cricut is very user-friendly, so you can follow through their steps. So I have my canvas. I am going to go ahead and rename it because I want to be able to save it. But first, I'm going to go and upload my images. So I'm going to click on upload and then upload image, browse, and I'm going to click on that same file, the journaling file, Cricut or digital, and I need all of these files, but Cricut doesn't let me select, like I'm trying to select more than one, it doesn't let you. So you have to go one at a time. Doesn't matter what you start with. I'm going to start with this page and hit open. I'm going to hit complex on all of my files. Please don't ask me specifics of why this works, why this doesn't work. Oh, for another file, I use simple. I'm just telling you what I found worked best for my files and the Cricut machine that I'm using. So if you find that you can do it differently, do it differently, but I'm showing you what I have found to work best. I hit complex. On this page, you have to do nothing. So hit apply and continue. On this page, you're going to select print, then cut image, even on the blackout files. Why? I don't understand why. It lines up better this way. It works better. Just trust me in this process. So I'm going to hit upload. Now I'm going to select my next image, and I'm going to repeat this process for all 4 of these files. This one is the actual design. I'm still going to say complex. I still don't have to do anything, and I just hit apply and continue. And I'm still going to select print and cut image. I tried to make this process so easy and simple to follow for you guys because Cricut was extremely overwhelming for me as someone who had never used it. Since 2015, I've always used a silhouette, and so I tried to go into this like if I was just a random customer and I decided I wanted to start making my own stickers and I knew nothing, which I did know nothing about Cricut, what would be easiest for me? So you follow the same steps every time. Complex, apply and continue, print then cut. One more file, people. Again, you might have a different file option. You might be doing the vertical kit. You might have 8 pages because you have 1 for printing and 1 for cutting. You might be doing the weeks kit. You only have 2 pages, 1 for the design, 1 for the cutting. So it just depends on which file you have purchased from my shop, but they all follow the same process of complex, yes, apply, print and cut, and then upload. So now that my images are all uploaded, I got too cocky. Cricut was like, wait a minute, lady. Okay, I'm going to click them to select all of the files that I want to import to my canvas. So eventually you're going to have a bunch of images here. After you're done with them, if you don't want them anymore, you can delete them. But if you're going to do more projects with them, you may need them. So I'm going to select all 4 of these images, and I'm going to click Add to Canvas. They are going to import huge. This is probably the #1 thing to listen to in this whole video. You have to size these files correctly or it will not work. And then you're going to be frustrated and you're going to think something's wrong with the files. No, this is what Cricut does. And I've watched tons of Cricut print and cut videos. This is what Cricut does. So you are responsible for resizing. Cricut does weird stuff when you size all of them together. Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. I'm going to select my first image. I'm just going to unlock it and I'm going to resize 6.601 by 8.732. Enter. Perfect. I'm going to get my next image. 6.601 by 8.732. Put those 2 together because they're the same design. This one, 6.601, 8.732. I'm sorry that these aren't like pretty even, like 6 on the dot, 7 on the dot. It's just what it was. It is what it ended up being, people, and I'm being honest about that. I need to double check that I did those correctly. So again, I'm pretty sure I goofed up. I had this lock on, so it didn't exactly do this right. So we're just going to verify that all of these are correct. So I say this on my instructions, even, see, look, that one's wrong again because I had the lock on. This is the annoying thing that I found. And if there's a way that you know to stop it from being silly, let me know. But it's super annoying. So I'm going to double check. This one, 6.601, 8.732, 6.601, 8.732. Extremely important you check every single one. 6.601, 8.732, 6.601, 8.732. Okay, boom, boom. Now, I'm going to put the black on top of the color, select both of those, and go over here to the Align button and hit Center. I'm going to do the same thing with these 2. Align, Center. What I'm showing you is that the black is the cut line, and you can see some of my designs are peeking out underneath, some are not. So like this sheet doesn't have the bleed lines because the bleed lines are the white extra outline. This one you can see some of the designs peeking out, and that's because those have a bleed. So I like lining them up to kind of just make sure my sizing is right, everything's good. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to hit make it, and you're going to see all of your files on the left hand side. This is where it gets very important that you pay attention to these instructions, the how-to guide instructions, because 2 of these files we're going to print, 2 of these files we're going to cut. You are not going to print and cut the same file, okay? So we are going to print the ones that have the pretty designs, these 2, and we are going to cut the 2 blackout files, these 2. Don't mind Cricut being weird there. So I'm going to start with the printing. I'm going to select my first one. I do not mirror. Just keep this. Everything like this should just stay as is. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to send to printer. And then this is also very, very important, or you are going to get frustrated like I did for days. I thought my printer and my computer were having issues targeting each other because I would set my settings and the menu would pop up behind the window, and I had no idea, like an idiot. So please watch this. Number 1, I'm selecting my printer, which is stickers. We went over this. 8.5 by 11 paper. I'm doing 1 copy. I do not need a bleed. Turn off the bleed. I already designed these with a bleed. If you include the bleed, it will cut off, it will be weird, bad things will happen. I need to turn on use system dialog. Why? This is how I can change my print settings. If I print it from here, Cricut doesn't do good things with printers. So it won't have good settings, it won't have my paper settings, all the things I like. So I'm going to hit use system dialog and hit print. It says preparing to print, and the circle is going to spin and spin and spin, and you're going to sit here and get very frustrated like I did, because 10 minutes will go by and you'll be like, what happened to my printer? Well, what I learned after playing with Cricut for days is that for whatever reason, it always pops up behind. Why? I don't know. It could be my printer. It could be my computer, but it happens every time for me. So just know that. Don't sit here like an idiot like I did for literal days, not knowing what was happening. Stickers. Vinyl stickers, just like we did in Silhouette. These are my saved settings. I'm going to hit print. It's going to print. Okay, now we're going to do the same process with my second design. I'm going to send to printer. I'm going to select stickers as my printer, 8.5 by 11, no bleed, use system dialog. Why is there not a default to just keep that the same every time? I don't know. There could be. I haven't found it. I'm going to hit print. He's going to spin and spin and spin and spin. And eventually, there he is behind the window. I'm going to hit print. Those are going to print out. While those are printing, I'm going to talk to you about the cutting. So we don't need these anymore. These 2 files, we don't care about them anymore. We're going to choose which one of these we're going to do first. Let's just do this one for the example. This is the little scraps of paper and the 15mm washi strips. So it's going to say, here, go ahead and send this to the printer. You don't want to do that because you already printed it, right? You printed the pretty version of it. We printed this. We don't need this. We already printed this, okay? So we're going to go all the way over here and we're going to hit I've already printed. Okay, now he's going to get frustrated because he's like, where is the machine? I need to connect it. Let me do that. Okay, I have my machine. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to open. And up here, I'm going to do this because he's confused. Loading, loading, loading. This is my friend's air that I'm borrowing. And on here, if you don't have this bookmarked like I do, you're going to have to find it. So you can browse all materials, and all I did was type in stickers, search, and all materials. Sticker, it's very particular. And this is the one that I've been using, is printable sticker paper, white with gray liner printing. I bookmarked that so that I don't have to do this every time, and that's why it popped up. Okay, so I'm going to select that, and it's going to notice that there is a pressure option. I have it on default because the blade on my friend's seems pretty decent. If your blade is old, you might need more pressure. If it's newer, you might need less. Or if you are using a different sticker paper, you might be able to change these, or you might just need a completely different setting. So please know that, again, cut settings are different for every person because we are all using different blades and different sticker paper, which makes it very different. I'm going to switch to showing you my Cricut. My sheets are almost done printing, so we can talk about that. But first, this is the calibration sheet. Like I said, you'll notice even in the YouTube video that I linked about calibrating, the girl in that video recommended getting the calibration sheet from the Cricut website, and for me, that's what helped my Cricut actually get calibrated. I don't know what's wrong with theirs on their design space, but it's not good. So this is straight from there. I saved their file from their website as a PDF to my computer, and then I was able to use it over and over again. So this is the sheet. When you line it up onto your mat, you line it up in the top corner, just like regular. And then you're going to follow the process. But basically it starts by cutting the square, and then it's like, did it cut it? You're going to say yes. Then it's going to cut on these lines. It's going to cut off. And basically what you're doing is you're going to find which line horizontally and vertically and horizontally that it cuts best. So your best line might be like 11I, or it could be 3P, whatever it is. You're going to tell your computer the setting. And then once he has that, he as in the Cricut, it's going to cut this rectangle. And then if that cut is good or bad, you're going to tell it, and you're either going to recalibrate again, or you're going to say, yep, we're good, we can cut or print and cut now. Like I said, I had to do this a lot, and I found that YouTube video and it really helped me. It has tons of tips, so please watch that if you're struggling. If you've never used a Cricut, this black border is the registration mark on the calibration sheet, but they actually updated it recently, and the actual print and cut now has just the 4 corners. So when I first started, I did not want a Cricut because the print cut space was very small. They have made it a lot bigger, as you can see, and I formatted my files on Silhouette to make sure they would fit in Cricut, just for you Cricut users. So here are my 2 files printed, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my washi one that we were talking about, and I'm going to do the same hack that I showed you guys before, and I'm going to put a little piece of painter's tape on it to keep it a little sturdy because my mat isn't brand new. All right, so here is my mat, and here's how I need to load it. This is what I learned after struggling for a long time. There is space in my little machine here, and you need to go all the way to the left against that guide. Push in all the way to the left, and I'm going to push the arrows. Okay. Just a fair warning, very loud. I think you need some WD-40, but it's not my machine, so I do not want to add things that I should not. On the computer now, you can see that it's saying press go. The go is the flashing little C Cricut button. So I'm going to go ahead and push go. This is what I'm talking about. You need some WD-40. On the computer, it's scanning it. It's showing you it's scanning. It's reading the registration mark. I find it does better when it's closed. So I'm going to close the top because I find it does better that way. Now it's showing cutting, so it's going to show the progress bar until it's all done. Okay, so I can push the arrow, my machine unloads, and then it does not cut around the sticker sheet with the Cricut. It does cut on that black line, but honestly that is just a formatting thing. Like I said in the silhouette video, that's how I get my files to format, is having those black lines. So it has to cut those, but I'm going to remove my sticker sheet and you will see that I have sticker cut out. And then you can trim the outside edge of this using scissors or a paper trimmer, whatever you would prefer to use. Okay, going to the computer now, I would go to my next document, that's the blackout file, and I would do the same thing. I've already printed, I would make sure my settings are correct, load that sheet onto my mat, load it into my Cricut, push go, have it cut, trim the outside if I would like. Do that as many times as you need until your files are all done, and then once you're done, you can hit cancel and get out of the cut. It's going to be confused a little bit because it thinks you need to cut 4 files when you only really need to cut half of them. So I am saying, yes, I would like to cancel my cut, Cricut, and yes, I'm done with this, and then it's going to take you back out. Once you're here, you can go ahead and change this and save this for later. So I could save this as Season of Gratitude Printable Kit. Save. And then that way, the next time I want to print this, or if I want to come back to it if I'm not finished, I have it, and when I go to Canvas and I go to Home, I can go to My Stuff, and you have 2 options. You have Projects, and you'll see Season of Gratitude Printable, and then you can also see Images, and you can see the images that I have uploaded. So that is going to be my end of my Cricut explanation, and we're going to move on to the hand cutting tutorial. Alright, the next section of the how-to is hand cutting instructions. So I am not a hand cutter. I have silhouette cutting machines, as I've said, to cut my stickers since I own a small business. But way back in the day, back in early 2015, before I started my shop, I started with hand cutting stickers, and I would buy sticker paper, and I had an X-Acto knife, and I would sit there and do that. But I will say that there is a time for that. If you can't afford a machine, if you don't use stickers frequently enough to make it worth it, you don't have room for a machine, there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't own a Cricut or a silhouette cutting machine. So if you're hand cutting, this is for you. My files include PDFs that have a blue line with that black border for you to cut the outside of the sheet, and then a red line to cut the actual kiss cut stickers, if you will. Depending on your method, they might not be kiss cut. You might cut all the way through the paper, peel off the back, and put them onto your sheet. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and show you how I would do that with my materials. So to start out with, I am going to click on my files. I think for the hand cutting, let's do weeks as an example. So I'm going to click on the weeks, pretend I bought the weeks files. So this is what I'm going to get. And if I'm a hand cutter, I'm going to click hand cut. And I'm going to open the weeks PDF. What's really important is you have to have a software program that can open PDF files. My 100% recommendation, doesn't matter if you're on Windows or PC, Windows or PC. Ooh, Chelsea. Windows or Mac is the free Adobe Acrobat Reader. It's free. It's wonderful. It's like the most used PDF reader in the world. It's great. Just do that one. So have that on your computer. I already have Adobe Acrobat Reader on my computer because I use Adobe products. So I have like the whole suite. So I'm going to open the PDF by clicking on it. Better than I did. And then it's going to open. So now that it's open, you can see, I'm going to zoom in, and you can see those red lines I was talking about. So those red lines are gonna print. It's not like in Silhouette where they're not printing. These ones are gonna print, and that's so that we can follow them with our scissors or our X-Acto knife. You want those lines there so that you can see where you're supposed to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and push File, push Print. I'm going to send this to no other than my stickers printer, but I'm going to hit printer so that I can see all of my options. So I'm going to hit stickers, vinyl stickers as always, and push print. So that is going to print once I hit print again, and it's going to go ahead and do its thing. I'm going to switch over to my desk setup to show you the supplies that I have that I would use and recommend that I used back in the day. Okay, we are printing out our hand cutting sheet for the weeks. So that's going to be going, and you're going to hear that in the background, and I'm going to show you my tools that I would recommend. basic tools that you for sure need is either and or a pair of scissors and some type of cutting knife. I recommend having both, a cutting knife and scissors, but if you can only get one, get whatever one you have, use what you got. So here I have the Fiskars Titanium Nonstick. These are little mini ones. I probably need a new pair. They're pretty old, but they help with the stickiness of the stickers. And then I have an X-Acto knife type. I'm pretty sure this is an off-brand, but it has a blade that you cut with, obviously. And then a slice tool. I prefer the slice tool over the X-Acto knife, to be honest, but it's a personal preference, I think. So there's that. And then the bonus things that I would recommend is the self-healing cutting mat, which is what I have down here. I use one of these with a rolling rotary cutter for my foil rolls, and that's why I have this. But back in the day, I've had this since 2015. And in my old planner videos, I used to use this and I used to cut stickers on it. So I would recommend that if you have one already, or if you can get one cheap, just to cover wherever you're cutting. They make them even smaller, so you could get one like just the size of a piece of paper and it would do its job. Next, I would recommend a roller. Look at this guy. He's old and janky, and I still use him all the time. Office Depot, just any ruler. Just make sure it's sturdy. I would recommend something like this versus like the snap-in Erin Condren ones or whatnot, because they just aren't as sturdy. But if that's what you have, that's what you have. And then bonus stuff that I will include as like, if you already own it, use it. Tweezers will help peeling off the backing of stickers if they're sticking. And then after you peel off the backing of the sticker and you need somewhere to stick it, you can get a reusable sticker book like this. I have some in here as an example, but you can put stickers in here and then actually play with them later on. So if it were me, this is my pretend setup if I was hand cutting, right? But if it were actually me and I was still back in that day, what I used to do was I would print my sticker sheet out, get all my supplies like this, and I would sit in my living room on my coffee or at my coffee table and watch a TV show or a YouTube video while I was doing it, because it is a tedious process. Those of you who do it know. So my document has printed, and like I said, the red lines are there. So they're there for you to cut. So one of my first things I was saying is you can go ahead and cut out the perimeter to make your paper smaller and easier to handle. And I'm going to cut like just on the outside of the black line, but that's just me. You can cut on the black line, inside the black line. The other option is using a paper trimmer, which right now, like if I was to be a hand cutter, I would for sure get a paper trimmer. But like I said, we're using the materials and the tools that we have. So if you don't have a paper trimmer, don't go buy one if you don't need one. Way back when I started getting into decorating my planner, I couldn't afford sticker paper. I was in college. My husband and I had got our first place together. The rent was expensive, and we got engaged, and we were saving every penny for our wedding, and I couldn't even afford sticker paper when I was just decorating for fun. And so I used plain copy paper. Did not print great, wasn't the best quality, but it was cheap, and I bought a huge pack of it, and I used to cut it out with scissors and use a glue stick. And I was totally old school, and guess what? It worked. So if that's what you do, that's what you do. If you have a sticker machine and sticker paper from Online Labels and it looks all fancy and cool, that's awesome too. But the bottom line is doing something crafty, doing something fun, and doing it how you can afford to do it. If you're at the point where this is how you need to do it, then do it, girl, because I've been there. So also, girl, boy, planner person, whoever you are, doesn't matter. There is my big sheet. So now what is going to happen is this is all one big sticker paper sheet because I printed it on sticker paper. So I'm going to show you. This is all one big sticker right now. And then this is my backing. My backing for my sticker paper is thick. So I have a high chance of being able to use like a slice tool and it not going through the actual sheet. But if it does, what I would want to do is put it into my sticker book once I cut it out. So I can cut it out with a pair of scissors and like cut out this rectangle and cut out this rectangle and cut out this rectangle, and I can stick it in here. So I will show doing like one of those. So I'm gonna go you can probably hear my concentration right now. I'm trying to stay on that line as close as I can. Just know hand cutting is not as precise if you're a shaky hand like I am. And I'm going to go from this side because it'll be easier for me personally. This is hard because weeks is tiny, but this is the example your girl chose, so I'm sticking with it. Okay, and then I'm going to cut off that spot, and then there's my little strip. And so what I was saying is sometimes the tweezers are helpful if I can get the edge started, and then I can grab the sticker and I can use my reusable sticker book and I can plop her down on the page, and so boom, I have one sticker. And I would keep doing that process, obviously. The other way that you can do the hand cutting, and that's why I have the ruler, is say I was gonna go for like one of these boxes over here. I can line up the box with that red line. Sorry if you can hear my tummy growling. Apparently I need to go eat dinner. And I can use a cutting tool like this, and I can cut that way, cut all around it, and then peel that sticker up and put it in my sticker book. I prefer to have a sticker book or something like that, get all my stickers and then plan, but you could also cut, stick in your planner, cut, stick in your planner, cut, stick in your planner. It's totally up to you. Like I said, the sticker book, the tweezers, the cutting mat, completely extra. Highly recommend a ruler, highly recommend a pair of scissors, and highly recommend one of the cutting knife. But if all you have is scissors, do your thing, because that's what I did until I could afford to get like an X-Acto knife. So that is my instructions for the hand cutting portion of this, and I hope this helped. Okay, the last method is digital planning. And I will say, number one, I am not a digital planner. And number two, these files are not specifically geared toward digital planning. It is more so a bonus if you are somebody who likes to do printables and you have a digital planner and you already own my files. This is something you can do. But the big thing with my stickers are that they are not pre-cropped. And you can buy pre-cropped stickers on Etsy. And if that's how you would like your stickers, then look specifically for those stickers. If you're just wanting the art and you want them pre-cropped, then you need to purchase straight from the artist. So find the clip art artists that you like. Most of them have Etsy or Shopify and are on social media. So you can find them there and buy the art directly from them, but I will not sell it as individual PNG files. So I am showing you how to take one large PNG file of my entire sticker sheet and create smaller stickers. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. First, you need to download your files, which I have already done. But just know if you are downloading from Etsy, you cannot download your purchased items in the app. You have to do it from a browser. So know that going in. If you are getting it from Etsy, you have to get it from your browser. So once you download the folder that says Cricut or digital, you're going to find two items in it. I'm doing the cousin for this example. And you're going to find the cut and the print. For digital, you only need the print. You do not need the cut. So I am going to just select this and I'm going to share and I'm going to save as an image. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto my iPad and I'm going to click on GoodNotes. And I only have the free version of GoodNotes because, like I said, I'm not a digital planner. But I just created a little mini digital planner with a passion planner free download for this example. I did a daily and a weekly. And then I had created this sticker book. And basically all the sticker book was a new notebook and I was playing around with how to do the digital files. So that's all this is just a random new notebook. I clicked new and I can't anymore, but I clicked new and I created a notebook and I named it sticker book, and I chose white plain background, and that's all it was. It's literally nothing fancy, but this is where I'm going to go, and I'm going to go ahead and swipe, and I'm going to add a new page, current template, perfect. Okay, now that we have a blank page in our sticker book, I'm going to hit the picture button and import that image that we had downloaded. And I'm going to tap, and then I'm going to just hold for a second until this pops up. And I'm going to say copy, and then I'm going to tap the background, hold for a second, and push paste. I'm sure that there are shortcuts for these things, but like I said, I'm not professional. I used to use my iPad for notes in college, but even that has been years and years. So I made a copy because what we're going to do is we are going to crop this image over and over again, and you'll have to continue doing a copy and paste. So now that I have this guy selected, I can do the same thing where I hold and I'm going to choose crop. And then my suggestion that I have on my how-to and what I'll say now, you can do freehand and you can do rectangle. For me, rectangle makes most sense, at least to start. And what I like to do, because the sheet on mine is so small, I have a 9.7 inch, I learned this method from Planning Annie's YouTube video. And if you have a second, definitely go check her out. She gets all the credit for teaching me how to do this. And she has a bigger iPad, and I think maybe mine needs updated or whatever. Hers looks just ginormous. So I wish I would have gotten a bigger one, but I have what I have. So what I'm getting at is what I start with doing is, let's say I want to do one of these boxes actually. I want to get those boots. So I'm going to go bigger than I need to go. I can go a little more in than that, but like I can't get right up to that with precision. So I'm going to say done, and it's going to bring up the cropped image, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to crop. And now that it's bigger, it's easier for me to crop. So for me personally, this is the easiest way that I find, but it also, I think, has to do with the size of your iPad and what update you're on and things like that. So I'm going to hit done. And then there is my box, and I can resize it as much as I want by dragging that corner and tilting. I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to repeat this process again by basically hitting the back and pushing paste. And if I ever accidentally delete it or whatever, I have it right here and I can get a new copy. But I'm going to go ahead and select, hold for a second, and then crop, and then do the same thing, but go for something else. So let's try to do this pumpkin pie piece up here. Done. I'm going to select again and crop. And now that it's a little bigger, it's easier for me to see. And I don't want that much. Okay. And then there's my sticker. Okay. You're going to repeat this process over and over again until you feel like you have all the stickers that you want to have. And then in another tab like I have, you're going to open your planner. So for instance, this is the weekly planner from Passion Planner, sorry. And I added this sticker before, but let's just flip to a new week so it's nice and clear. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and let's pretend that we're working on this Monday right here, and I want to put those boots right there. So in order to take these stickers and add them to our planner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the lasso tool, and I'm going to lasso and then copy, and let's go to our weekly planner, and I'm going to paste. So that is how sorry, it's gonna take a second, how you can move the stickers from your sticker book to whatever planner. You just have to open it in a new tab and then you have it ready to go. So I can do that guy, and then I can come here and hold down, copy, paste, and that guy's quite large, so let's move him to be smaller. What's great about this is like you can take a lot of kits that you already have bought in that are printable, and even if you switch planner size on a digital planner, like this is a cousin kit, but it's gonna work pretty well in this Passion Planner digital planner because I can take the corner and I can make it any size that I need it to be. It's obviously going to keep its aspect ratio, but you can crop it too if you would like. So it's very versatile to use printable kits like this, but it takes work. So the cropping process takes a while. So that's why I do not advertise my stickers as, you know, digital like planner stickers, because that's just not what they're actually being created for. So this is the process. In the instruction guide, I have a link to Planning Annie's YouTube video. I am not a digital planner. I did a ton of research, and Planning Annie taught me this method. There might be other methods of how to do this, but her explanation is wonderful. Honestly, much better than mine. So if you are still confused and you want to see this from someone who's much more knowledgeable, go check out Planning Annie's video. It's linked in the how-to guide under digital planning. And I, again, will urge you that if you want pre-cropped planner stickers, to search for that on Etsy, because there are shops who do it. And I know some of you are like, well, if other shops do it, why can't you? A lot of the digital art that I use, the artists don't allow individual PNG uploads of their art. And so if you're looking for that style of pre-cropped like clip art of just like a specific kit that you like, of a specific art set, you can always buy the clip art straight from the artist and not buy a planner kit like from me. So I encourage you to find the artists on social media and on, you know, whatever platform they sell on, Etsy or Shopify most of the time, and purchase directly from them and support those artists. I will not be offering my sticker kits with individual pre-cropped images. So this is the process that you have to go through, and it does take a while. But if you're using something like this, where it's like a basic weekly spread, you could do a couple boxes, you could pull some washi, you could pull the date covers, and it would look really festive, and then just use a pen and match it with one of the colors of the kit, add some shading, and it would be really cute. I honestly was messing around with the daily planner and doing this because I'm still trying to make decisions about my 2024 lineup. Let's not even talk about it. So there's options, but I am being honest with you that this process does take a while. I know that even Planning Annie, people had messaged or commented on her YouTube video and had said, like, you know, this takes forever, and she was like, yeah, it always takes me a while too. And I think it's one of those things that the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it. And it's definitely one of those activities you could probably do while like watching a comfort show or just relaxing on the couch. That's definitely what I would do. But I could see how this would save money, because you could reuse these images several times once they're in your sticker book, and you could get, you know, multicolor things. There's lots of options here. So if you're a digital planner, this is a good option. If you are someone who buys my files and you do digital planning and printable, like physical stickers, this is a really good option because you can use it for however you need it that week. But like I said, if you were looking for pre-cropped images, check on Etsy for some other sellers. I am probably not your place because I will not be doing pre-cropped images. That is the end of the tutorial how-to video. The last page of the how-to talks about this video that I'm filming and links to it and timestamps for all the different methods. And then on the bottom, it basically just talks about if you're still having issues after all of this information, then you can always reach out to me directly by my email, which is chasingchels@outlook.com, or you can send me a message on Etsy and I will do my best to help you through it. but it is very hard to help someone through technological issues via a message. So I can give you advice, I can give you tips, I can point you toward further resources and customer service for your cutting machine, anything like that. But sometimes I'm not going to be able to solve the problem for you. If you become frustrated and you're just realizing that printables aren't for you, then I do offer all of the items physically in my shop. So if you would rather me create it and just ship it to you, and all you have to do is just add it to your cart, then that is an option for you. But as with most all digital items, there is no refunds and no returns because of the way the files are shared. Like, there's no way for me to not know that you have already downloaded, used, or shared my files, and so I have to protect myself as a business owner. So I do not do returns or refunds on anything printable, digital download style items in my shop. So that is the entire guide. Like I said, when you order anything printable, digital files from my shop, that will come in with the files. And please download it, give it a look. If you find anything that doesn't make sense to you, definitely scroll down and hopefully eventually I answer your question. If I don't, definitely send me a message. Watch this video, obviously. And I hope this helped you. If you are just finding me randomly on YouTube and you stumbled across this video and you have no idea what's going on, this whole video is very specific to my printable digital items. This isn't going to be the way it works for everybody's. This is just how I formatted my files to work for all of these different variations, because when I first started doing printables, I only offered them as PDFs and silhouette files, and I was getting a lot of requests about could this be used in a digital planner? Could I use this with my Cricut? And I was constantly having to say, no, it can't, no, it can't. And it really bothered me that I wasn't making it usable for everyone. And so that's why I've taken the time to film this video, to learn all the things. I will tell you the process of learning the different methods. I mean, I had to borrow the Cricut from my friend. I had to watch all these videos to learn how to do things like this from Planning Annie, and then testing it all myself, and then creating this video, creating the PDF has taken me weeks. As a new mom, my son is now 1. I am just getting out of like the postpartum fog and starting to like be able to use my brain again, I feel like. And I also watch him full time, so I have to do things during his naps and when his father is home, and so my time is really limited. So this series was a big investment, but I'm hoping that people like you who are watching this video and other people who will download my printables in the future found some use for this. I mentioned in the PDF for the how-to guide that if you comment questions on the YouTube video, I may see them, but they may get missed. YouTube is not my main priority whatsoever. I don't think I've uploaded on YouTube in a couple of years, but I knew I had to put something up in order to link to my PDF, and YouTube is really great at holding videos forever. So that's why it's going up here. So if you comment on YouTube and I don't respond, that's why. If you really want your question answered, like I said, email me, Etsy message me, or even Instagram. I'm really on there often. That's my best social media platform. So definitely send me a message over there and I would see it faster than YouTube. So thank you for your support and for purchasing from my printable shop. If you have not ordered a printable thing for my shop and you saw this video and you saw that I offer printable cousin weeks, weekly vertical, and journaling kits, and you're interested, then head over to my shop and purchase something, try it out, let me know what you think. And like I said, I do offer physical versions if you are not into the digital printable stuff. Until next time, I will see you guys later.